Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Talk About Purpose podcast. I'm Matthew, co-hosted with Brian, Frank.
Hello.
And since this is our first podcast, I thought we'd say a little bit about ourselves and kind of what we're doing here.
I think it's a good idea. My name's Brian Harper. Basically, we kind of just set out because we want to help people. I had a lot of things going on in my life that I was able to kind of turn into a positive thing and kind of make it, help people out, help people move forward, going through the same things. Back in 2013, I got real depressed, and I put a 30-06 in my mouth. I pulled the trigger, and I got lucky. It was a misfire. I just remember feeling like I had like a sense of doubt in life. Like I did not have a purpose. I didn't feel like I could do anything with myself. I just felt like I was, I was low, and I didn't know who to turn to. And since then, I've managed to talk kind of two people down from that ledge, and move forward, help them move forward with their lives and find purpose themselves. That's why purpose to me, it's just, it's a big part of my life, like finding purpose. And I really do want to talk about it. And like in everyday life with everything that we do, I want to make sure, everybody can see that there's always an answer. There's always, you're always going to get out of a tough situation no matter what, and that's kind of like why I want to just go forward and help people.
Yeah, beautiful. Frank, any thoughts?
About what he said or about myself?
No, about yourself, man.
I'm Frank Curry. I'm a self-taught clinical architect. I joined the two of you because I like your purpose. I want to help people. I also want to help educate people and maybe get educated myself. Well, I will get educated myself, But exactly, we've all been through some struggles in our life. We've all been, beaten, ragged, thrown around, stuff like that, not cared for. Some of us haven't been really cared for by our parents like we should have been.
Right.
And some of us, had parents that weren't even there. And both, right?
Right.
Shouldn't have been and not there, back and forth. And just, a lot of struggles. I feel a lot of it is, you are who you are the way you're raised. It's all about, who your parents are, how they raised you, what they did, what you remember. And then also, what happens down the road. Like I said, my purpose here is to try to help others that are having some troubles and maybe help them find a silver lining or something to help them better their life.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, and I myself come from homelessness, abuse, alcoholism, fatherlessness, poverty, and over the course of that, it's been quite a struggle to get back on track, to gain ground from those positions. And I grow daily in my personal life and personal growth. And I think as I grow, I'd like to help people see the process and maybe give them a purpose. Because we're going to be giving information on purpose here.
Yeah.
And information is not wisdom, but wisdom uses information to make so you have the right ideas on how to make the right choice.
Right.
So I think if we could give some purpose and help some people, because that's really what I care about, is helping people get out of the situations I have and to see the growth I'm making while we're doing this and studying these topics.
Yeah, I think to kind of touch on a little bit of what you were saying about, fatherless. And I didn't have either of my parents either. It made me grow up in a way, that kind of like I pushed. Like I learned from their mistakes. Something that you have to kind of break the cycle. Yeah. You can't be the same. Like I grew up in with abuse, sexual abuse and physical abuse, and I dealt with a lot of that myself. And I just to kind of come from that and still have a good heart, still have still care about people, still want to help people. It says a lot about a person's character. And I know, from your experiences, just seeing where you are today, that's huge.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And everyone, you should be proud of that. So
yeah, exactly. So today, speaking of behavior and character, we're going to be talking about a study introduced in the 1960s by a guy named David Meck, and he established 7 personality traits Those traits being alpha, beta, gamma, delta, zeta, sigma, and omega. However, most people don't focus on all 7 of those. I didn't even know zeta was a thing.
I kind of
guess it was in like one of the Revenge of the Nerds movies or something like that. I know.
Right.
Or if it was like in East Stroudsburg when I went there, that's
Yeah, exactly. So the most common ones being alpha, beta, and sigma.
right.
And I think it'd be great to start there, break them down, figure out what they are, and we'll take it from there. So what are some of the good things we know about being an alpha?
I mean, alphas are naturally, I think, good leaders. You know, when you think of an alpha, you think of like the leader of a pack. Like if you want to go like an animal kingdom, you think of a wolf pack. You know, the alpha's always looking out for the whole pack. You know, if they're walking in a line, you know, it's like a wolf always, the alpha wolf will always stay in the back behind the weak and the elderly and stuff like that, just to make sure that they don't get picked off. You know, so I think good leadership is definitely something that it's a defining characteristic of an alpha. You know. For sure. But there's a lot of characteristics and you know, with being assertive and things like that. Being I would say maybe kind of being a role model for kids, you know, to strive to move up and be.
We lack a lot of that in today's age.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We do, especially in today's day and age.
But
Mm-hmm.
music mostly.
Yeah.
A lot of
Movies and music,
music is.
I think
politics.
even
No.
I mean, just
Well,
even in today, I mean, it's the lack of testosterone, you know,
Yeah.
in
Mhm.
today's
Well, not
day
only
and
that,
age.
people are proud of their lack of testosterone. So you're talking about alpha. Alpha, I think of alpha like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sylvester Stallone. I'm 41,
Yes.
so I think of back in
Right.
the day when muscles were king. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
You know, when all the wrestlers had muscles, they were all jacked and massive. I think that's alpha. You know,
Oh, yeah, when you were a
Mhm.
wrestler, right?
Yeah, I was a wrestler for
So-
a short time.
Were you really?
Yeah, independent wrestling. Yeah.
Really? That's dope, man. So we've got leadership. How about confidence?
Oh, absolutely.
You have to-
You can't be a leader. Well, we can't say that, but you got to be confident in being a good leader. A good leaders are never not confident. We'll say it that way.
I agree.
Yeah, you
I
have to
agree.
have confidence. How about physically and mentally? They have to be. An alpha is not just dominant characteristically. An alpha can be aggressive physically.
Yeah.
You have to have the physical aspect of
Yeah.
being an alpha as well.
Yeah.
Well, you can't, if you walk around somewhere and get pushed around, like you're not
You're not going to be an alpha.
going to be an alpha. Somebody else is already more dominant than you are, you know, so you can't be an alpha. I know.
This is why I look at it this way. If it was back in the animal kingdom and somebody's more, they're going to take my woman and my children.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how it is. And, you know, that could happen today. You never know. Somebody could try to take my woman and my children.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to have somebody that's alpha enough and strong enough, or at least knowledgeable enough and intelligent enough to protect themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even with work, you know, you have a position, you know, and some younger kid comes in, you know, a hot-headed kid that thinks he's going to, you know, move forward in that company. He's looking at your job like, I wonder how long it's going to take me to get that. You know, I wonder how I'm pushing. I want his job. So I'm going to go right for it. And I'm going to start outworking this guy and taking it. So you kind of have to, if you're like any kind of leadership in your company, you need to maintain that leadership. So you need to outwork everybody. It's not just being able to give direction and tell people what to do, and, you know, you need to be able to go out there with them and show them how it's done and let them know that's why you're in the position you're in.
Yeah, I agree. And with that, you have to take risks. And alphas are risk takers. They're not afraid to take a risk on something.
Yeah.
And the other aspect of taking risks is that, well, we'll get to that later. Let's leave that for the bad aspect.
Yeah.
How about dress? What do you guys think of alphas and what they wear, how they take care of themselves? What do you guys think of that?
I would just say that, you know, not necessarily how they dress, but, you know, just the way they carry themselves. You know, they're probably going to hold themselves to a higher standard. Most of the time, they're probably going to be dressed nice. If I had to, you know, you're gonna overdress for the position. Same thing. I'll go back to being in a company. If you want a position, you're not going to dress for the position you're in. You're going to dress for the next position. You know. So if you're just a line worker or something like that, and you want to be a supervisor, start dressing with collared shirts instead of just a regular t-shirt. Start dressing for the position that you want, not the position you have. You know?
Yeah, one aspect with dressing is that I think when you see an alpha, you know they are.
Yeah.
They take care of themselves because they are proud of themselves. They are confident. And confidence is having a trust in yourself.
Yep.
And
Right.
if you're going to trust yourself, you're going to look good. You're not going to look bad. You know what I mean? That's more of a different personality trait that we'll get to.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with Brian. It's more along the lines of the way it carried. Because like at the end of the day, really an alpha is just a dude that can come in there and fuck shit up if he needs to. You need it's like women. I saw a meme or something like that. Women want a dude that at the end of the day, if shit goes right, he can fuck the room up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But he's man enough and intelligent enough to keep it at bay until it's time. You know what I'm saying? That's an alpha. It doesn't matter. Like, yeah, I consider myself an alpha. I like the way I look. It makes me feel good about myself, but not alphas. Not all alphas are like that. The alpha, it could be an alpha that just likes wearing ripped jeans and a t-shirt. That's a ripped t-shirt with stains all over it. It's just if they care about what they look like, and if they care, if that makes them feel good or not, they might not like that. It's just like in the gym, right? So some people feel good about lifting a gross amount of weight. So like, oh, well, I lifted this or whatever. And I used to be one of those power lifter guys. So some people like that. Other guys are like, well, I want to see how big I can get or how much I can get my muscle to blow up during this workout session or something like that. It all just depends on personal preference. But at the end of the day, alphas fuck shit up.
Yep. Right. And they do have a value system in place because they do care about family.
Yeah.
So they are still, they're kind, not nice.
So I actually saw something.
Sorry,
I saw something one time. It was a guy, he said, I believe I sent it to you. I might have sent it to you at one time, but it was a man should be able to slit a throat and hold a baby in the same day.
Right.
A man should be able to slit a throat and hold a baby in the same day. I don't know anything more alpha than that. You can fuck shit up, but you know when to turn it off.
Yeah, I mean, think of it this way. Think about alphas and betas. If you're in a convenience store and you're with your family and a guy comes in with a gun, the alpha's you have a fight or flight initiative. That's what everybody has, right?
Yep.
You always have a fight or flight initiative.
And freeze now.
Yep. So what alphas will tend to more go after. They'll fight them.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
The betas will run.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. Exactly.
Because they're not, like you said, the characteristics, willing to take a risk. So I'm willing to take a risk to go after this person and try to get them before they get my family. You know what I'm saying? So it all aligns. So there is definitely a need for alphas in the society, whether they want to believe it or not.
Right.
Because I know they're talking about testosterone is this, that, the other thing. You need testosterone for being an alpha.
Right.
So
right.
I agree.
Plain and simple.
Exactly. Now, with having that testosterone, you are going to be a little bit more aggressive, which is how they kind of climb the ranks.
Yeah.
And with that being said, because they are so confident and they usually are the leaders, they usually can motivate and inspire and have somewhat of charisma.
Yeah.
You guys agree?
Right.
What do you guys think on that?
I kind of think that, like, as an alpha and being a leader, you need to be a team player. You have to be able to give directions and you care almost. I wouldn't say you have to care about what people think about you, but you kind of do. So you
want to be respected and feared.
And feared.
You have to.
That's a good point.
Especially if it's like if you're thinking army ranks or anything like that, you're thinking a sergeant general, anything like that. You want to respect that man, but you also are scared shitless of that man.
Right.
Because that man can do some nasty things to you that you're unaware of.
Absolutely.
So I have one caveat to that because team player seems a bit off-brand. They don't want to be a team player. They want to be a team leader. They have. Yeah. Let's move on. You guys confident with what we've defined as alpha?
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah. Want to add anything else before we move on to the next part of it?
I think we pretty much touched it.
Okay. So what in the alpha do you guys see as bad?
Getting more than one alpha together.
Oh, that's terrible.
Absolutely.
Well, if more
Bro.
Okay, so I work with like doctors, for instance. If you work with one-on-one with a doctor, they're the pleasant, most doctors are the pleasant, nicest person you ever meet. But if you put more than one doctor in a room together, sometimes their egos battle against each other. So
Yeah.
it is egotistical. Alpha males are egotistical.
yeah,
100%.
So it's just like that. If you have an alpha male that's used to running shit, so you have two platoons coming in, and you have two sergeants come in at the same time, what do you think's going to happen?
Yeah.
What do you think's going to happen? They're going to fight
They're
over
gonna
each other's
fight.
ranks,
Yeah,
right?
right.
They're going to fight. Who's? It's just like it's like a pecking order. It's like any other animal. It's like two. You have a fox and another alpha, or the alpha fox, and another alpha fox comes in there. They're going to fight to see who's prime.
Right.
Right. So
Yeah.
that's what I mean. Get more than one alpha in there, and then that comes in with the team player stuff. Somehow, I consider myself alpha, but I'm also a team player. Like I know that I can do more with a team than I can by myself. However, I would like to control that team and make sure that they're not out of a line.
That makes you alpha, dude.
That's what I'm saying. Like I want to make I have my vision, and I want my vision to be seen because it's thoroughly thought out, and also I got opinions on that vision to make sure it's sterile because I need that true solidity. I'm solid on it now. But still, I want it to be done. It has to be done in this fashion, and that's just
the other thing. They're bad with. They need to be in control.
Mhm.
Like but that could be a bad thing.
Yes,
It could be a bad thing, but it's probably one of the things that defines an alpha the most is like they need to have control because they're leaders. So they want to have control of everything. So they lack the collaboration and not the control, and they're terrible at asking for help.
Terrible.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah.
Because they don't want to admit that they need help because they don't have alpha.
Right.
Right. And
I read that.
It could be like a shot to their pride,
Well, yeah.
if they have to ask for help.
Yeah. Well, and it also lowers confidence.
Yeah.
At that point in time. But I look at it differently. I look at getting opinions from others and having a collaborative opinion gives me confidence.
Right.
Even as an alpha.
right, because alphas can take feedback to an extent and internalize it and use it, but there is a limit to it.
Right.
Because they're gonna do what they want to do.
Right. No constructive criticism at all.
And alphas are usually the ones that end up spiraling out of control and burning in flames on their own because they usually let their ego beat their thought process. And even though I know that this is right, my egotistical maniac side of me as an alpha has me doing something that I know is in alignment with what I need to do. And if you don't catch it in that time, you could just burn in flames. Because that happens with everybody, especially with people that are wealthy and they're alphas.
I agree.
Yeah, for sure. I that overconfidence and that ego, it almost makes them arrogant.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah. You're going to see arrogance come from them. They're going to think, their way is the best.
Yep.
And that's going to cause a problem.
Yep. There is definitely a fine line between confidence and arrogance, for sure. Sure. Even being like I consulted across the United States, going from hospital to hospital and stuff like that, you have to have confidence, but you can't let it get to the point where it's arrogant. And you have to be able to be taught. Like that's another thing. Alphas have blinders on. They're not very easily taught. You can't teach them something easily because they think, like you said, their way is the only. You know what I'm saying? So they're not
right.
So like if you get in a room with a 70-year-old or a 60-some-year-old physician, they're kind of stuck in their ways. You know what I mean? So for them to get them to bend the knee and do a new process, it's kind of hard to do.
Yeah. It takes like repetition. They got to, like you said, you were going across the country doing consultations, the more you do it, the easier it's going to get. Right.
Yeah. Every place has its own difficulties. It's like anything else.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, this lends to, with them being in control, that can lead to burnout. That can lead to stress because they have to manage all this, and they think it's them that has to be in control of every step. You guys ever faced anything like that?
Daily. Well, it's like I'm a nurturer. I care for my family. I'm the alpha. I'm the leader. I'm the one that not saying that my significant other is not a leader. She's a leader with me. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, I'm going to be the one going for it. I'm going to be the one shooting for that throat. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, I take responsibility for my family. So I hold that, and I hold that over me. And I that sometimes causes me to have some anguish because of the stress.
Yeah.
that I have. You know what I mean? Like, oh, if I lose my job, my family fails. I
Right.
lose my house. I can't do that.
And then on
I
top
do.
on top of that, just like all the sacrifices that you have to make, there's a lot of them, day in and day out to make sacrifices to support your family and just it's stressful and sometimes it can be depressing, it could beat you down day in and day out. It can beat you down, but you have to keep going forward each and every day. You just have to go forward.
Yep.
No matter what.
Think about it. What support groups are out there for men?
There isn't.
Specifically for men. There's not. It's a bar.
Right.
Which is
Yeah.
surrounded by liquid that's depressing. Which, you know what I'm saying? So, like, women have a lot of outlets. They do. Like, think about it. When you get, there's divorced people. They're like, when people get divorced, there's like groups for divorcee women. Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's divorce groups for women and stuff, which is not really for men. I talked to a gentleman at the gym and he was telling me, he's like, there's nowhere for me to go and have a conversation with somebody else. That's there's like no group effort.
As a man, you have to have a support system.
Yeah.
You have to have community.
Yeah.
You have to have that group of guys that got your back.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? The wolves have the pack.
Yeah.
Right.
You gotta have somebody to confide in with that stuff, especially as an alpha, because with being a risk taker, risks aren't always good.
No, they're not. No.
Sometimes you crash and burn on your risk, which is another downfall of them.
Right.
And why it would be important to have a community around you.
Yeah.
It's important. And there's a lot of people out there that don't have that. They don't have a community to back them up and support them.
Or they have it and they don't talk about it.
Right.
Because they feel that they're weak if they do.
Right.
As an alpha.
It's a stigma
I'm
on men, and
Yeah.
especially in this country.
Well, think about it. If something happens to a man, we suck it up, brush it off, endure the suck. Got to do what you got to do. It is what it is, and we go on. Like, I always think of Robin Williams. I love Robin Williams, but like him, dude, he was that man that was dying on the inside, and his job was to make everybody else around him happy and laugh. That is so depressing. No wonder why the outcome was the way it was.
Right.
You can't be like that. You know what I mean? You have to be open and talk. And if he did talk to somebody and open up and they did nothing, then shame on them. He did what he had to do.
Right.
But then his support system didn't get his back, and that's a failure on the support system.
That's a problem. A lot of guys will reach out to their friends or who they think are their friends and try and like say, hey man, I'm really having a hard time, and they'll just be like, suck it up. We're all having a hard time. Like that's
true.
That's the kind of stuff that we need to get away from, though.
Yeah.
Somebody's having a hard, we need to definitely have their back.
Yeah. With alphas, I think it's probably best if the people around the alpha know that that's kind of more what they lean towards, to reach out and check in on them,
Right.
because they usually don't reach out, like we've been saying.
No,
Yeah.
they don't.
So that's a bit of advice. If you know a good alpha in your life, reach out to them every now and then.
Yep.
You should do it.
They're not gonna. They're not gonna
hate on that. Though.
Are you
not
kidding?
gonna-
We're going to get so much hate just for touching these subjects.
I love her saying it is what it is.
Yeah.
All right. So you guys feel good about the good and the bad of the alphas?
I do.
I think so.
All right. Sigmas. Sigmas are trending right now.
Yeah.
People want to be a Sigma. Now, it's the rarest of all these types.
It's because of Keanu Reeves. I know it.
It's exactly why.
It's because of him. It's because of Keanu Reeves. He did the John Wick movies. Now everybody wants to be like him. So I know that's what it is.
So what are some of the good things about Sigmas that you guys think of? How about confidence? Do they have it? Do they lack it?
They definitely have confidence.
Yeah.
They definitely have confidence. That's why they don't really look for reassurance in other people, because but that's the thing. It's like alphas. It's arrogant. They could be arrogant and not, that's where there's a fine line between confidence and arrogance. So they can be so confident that they come off as arrogant, and then I feel like they're very selfish,
They are.
I feel
They
like
are.
Sigmas are selfish.
Their strong sense to be independent will actually push them. They will push themselves out of groups so that they could be autonomous in their way of working or doing things, and it puts them off as looking distant or aloof.
Right.
But they're actually confident, and they just want to be autonomous. They don't want to have rules govern.
Right. They kind of just
I can
like go
agree with
outside
that.
the guidelines.
Mm-hmm.
Rules, government, tax, whatever. But
Yeah. Like they and then the thing is, like, they kind of ignore like those social hierarchies that, like, they don't really care where they fit in with that. They just kind of do their own thing.
Right.
You know, that's why they're probably the worst team players.
They are the worst team unless it's something that they care about because they are very passionate about what they're into.
Yeah. Well, look at Keanu Reeves. He buys his cast Rolexes and stuff on the movies. He's a great dude. But you got to remember, there was one point in time that Keanu Reeves wasn't such a great dude. Was it like right after Point Break or something like that? Right after there was a low in his life. I forget what it is. I have to Google it. But I know there was a low in his life, just like there was with Charlie Sheen. There's lows, ups and downs, and because honestly, I feel they go through these. Sometimes they're alpha, they go crazy, whatever. And that's what it is. And then I also think, like, you know, I know we haven't touched on all of them yet, but I think you need to have a little bit of everything in your body. You have to, and if you're not, then you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Well, I agree. I agree.
We get to that once we get through all of them.
Yeah, let's get through the good and bads of these, then we'll get to that.
Well, and that's why you need a little bit of everything, because there's goods and bads to every one of them.
Yeah,
exactly.
A mishmash.
That's I mean, Sigmas are kind of. I mean, they're basically alphas. It's just they kind of like there's a fine line between them. You know that an alpha cares about, you know, everybody in his group, whereas a Sigma kind of just they kind of have the alpha traits for themselves, but that's all. It's just for themselves,
and they don't care about leading at all.
No, nope.
Yeah. They also are low drama. They don't like drama and are emotionless for the most part.
They stay detached.
I mean, that sounds good for a business ethic.
Right.
Business perspective. That's great.
How about in real life?
No.
Especially when it comes to family.
No, definitely not.
Kids. Can you imagine being like that with kids?
No.
You
can't.
Absolutely not. And you can't. I don't think you could be a Sigma in a family.
Yeah, I feel like it'd be like a business owner.
Not a successful family.
No, not a legitimate family. It might be facade, but there's no way you can be a Sigma and be around your family all the time and care about your family the way you should. There's no way. I mean, prove me wrong by all means, but
we're supposed to be talking about the good points of Sigmas here. This went off the rails fast. Sorry, Sigmas. I know it's
good points.
Some of it just doesn't make sense to me. So that's why.
So how about physically Sigmas? What do you guys think usually are they fit? I think they're usually
I think they'd be fit.
They'd be fit.
Not necessarily big and like bulky, wanting to like manhandle anybody. I would say healthy. Yeah, that's a good one.
They care about self-growth only for themselves.
Yes. They care about their personal image.
They care about themselves, and they're going to be fit if you care about your self-growth.
Yeah.
So they do. But they don't want to be the guy in charge, so they're not going to try and bulk up like an alpha to dominate everybody. It's just for their own self-gain.
Right. I think they also they like to live in the moment, you know. They like to live in the moment.
They appreciate little moments for sure.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. How about confrontation with a Sigma? We can establish alphas. They're good with confrontation. Heck, sometimes they'll initiate it.
Some of them breathe it. Yeah. I'm not afraid of confrontation by all means.
Right. I feel like they're going to try and shy away from it.
Yeah.
Really?
I feel like they shy away from confrontation, especially if it's with an alpha. If it's with a beta, I don't know. I don't know that they care enough to entertain it. You know?
Right. How about when it's something important to them?
If it's something that they care about,
because these are confident, self-growth individuals.
I think they would fight for what they believe in. I think they would fight for what they believe in.
And that's about it. They don't care about anybody else.
To an extent, though, because if it comes to the cost of them, they'll stop fighting.
Exactly. That's what I was trying to get at with an alpha. You know, if they're trying to come into a confrontation with an alpha, they're probably gonna like back away. They're probably gonna back down and just tuck their tail and just, you know, step out of the room or leave. You know, they're not gonna try and push that issue. You know, they're gonna take their win where they can get it.
Yeah, I don't see Keanu Reeves kicking somebody.
Well, I don't know. You ever see some of his videos?
Yeah,
he does some crazy stuff.
He's more of the type of guy, like, if somebody does say something to him, he'd be like, whatever, man, and just walk away.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Well, if he was an alpha or something like that, and somebody says that, you know, it's going to be like, what did you say to me?
Right.
What was that? What did you say?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you
again.
I couldn't hear you from all the way over there.
Say that again. You know what I mean? Like, that's how it is. Like, I've had some friends that are alphas that they'll drive past a bar and somebody will whip the finger and they think they're whipping the finger and they'll drive back around. Yo, is that to me? Is that at me, man?
Yeah.
Is that at me? You know what I mean? Like, it's just all. Yeah. It's all part of it.
Yeah. They're very passive when it comes to things that don't agree with what's their self-image.
Right.
Now, feedback.
I think we failed on Sigma, but go ahead, next.
Dude, poor Sigmas. We're going to get so much hate for
Sorry,
this.
Sigmas.
Oh,
Don't
man.
hate us, just from my experience.
Honestly, they probably don't care what we think.
They don't care what we think. Exactly.
So it don't matter.
The real Sigmas are not getting mad at this at all.
Because they don't care.
Oh, man.
The alphas out there are like, I'm a Sigma? So they're getting mad.
I think we're getting debate at that point.
Right.
All right.
Well, I mean, I can think of some good things from it.
Well, hold on. We got to get to the more of the bad of Sigma.
There is more?
There is.
There is.
How about resistance to authority? I guess we kind of touched on that, didn't we?
I don't know. I got resistance to authority, like you're talking like at work, like if you have a Sigma there and someone tries to tell them what to do, like they just, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
Like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
We call that insubordination.
That's insubordination. At that point, I would say that a Sigma is probably, I would say they're probably intelligent, you know?
Right.
So if an alpha is telling them to do something, they're not, I don't think they're dumb enough to kind of just be insubordinate to them, you know?
I disagree.
You think?
I think a Sigma will whip the finger to an alpha, which pisses alphas off, and they will just do whatever they want, which is why alphas get pissed at Sigmas. Because they don't care what an alpha says. They don't care what the rules are.
I feel
all.
like when it would come to a confrontation though with them like that, eventually the alpha is going to make their point, and the Sigma is going to either lose their job or they're going to.
Yeah, otherwise it would just be straight anarchy. Because how do you not have?
Right.
There's no rule or law.
Right. It'd just be chaotic.
So I mean, I'm not going to listen to the police. I'm not going to listen to my boss, and I'm probably not listening to my mom yelling at me while I'm in the basement playing on my video game. Sorry. But, like you have to have authority and listen to authority in this life. Otherwise, there's chaos. It turns into anarchy. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Now, I mean, I kind of feel like maybe if it gets too far to an extent, now you're turning that Sigma into a beta.
Okay, that's interesting.
You know what I mean?
That's interesting.
Like if an alpha is pushing their point to a certain point, and a Sigma is, if somebody is being a Sigma at the time, and then they finally like kind of succumb to the alpha's leadership, then they're gonna have that almost makes them a beta at that point.
Right. Especially if it goes against something that they hold close to self.
Right.
I mean,
Or at least they might feel like a beta themselves instead of feeling, like a Sigma or God.
Yeah, I mean, if we're thinking about this algorithmically, since you brought that into it, so if you're telling me an alpha and a Sigma go at it because the Sigma is independent and has pushback, and obviously the alpha does, so then if the Sigma beats the alpha, does the Sigma become alpha?
No, because then he withdraws.
What do you mean?
He'll withdraw himself
From it and
He
say,
just wants to be out of
I don't want to be a leader. I just
screwed everything up for you. See you later.
Right. But now
Could you imagine if lions did that?
but then there's blood in the water.
Yeah.
There's blood in the water now. If that alpha falls to a Sigma, now there's blood in the water. Somebody's going to see that, and somebody is going to take it. Now somebody's or try to.
So then it's not going to be somebody that deserves it. What kind of leadership are we going to have there?
Then are you really an alpha?
So with
Could be anybody.
Sigmas,
God.
the other good thing about them is that they're creative and usually an entrepreneur.
Well, that's awesome. You know what I mean? It's good. But again, that makes sense because if you're kind of self-centered, you'll have all that time to yourself.
Yeah.
You'll have the time to take care of yourself. You'll have the time to be an entrepreneur and take risks.
Yep. And your
risk percentile wouldn't be bad because the only risk you're taking is going to affect you. While you don't, you won't. While being an alpha or something like that, you have to think about how are my actions going to affect my family.
Again, if you're an entrepreneur, you're a Sigma, you're an entrepreneur. Like all the personal gain is yours.
Yes.
Yeah. It's not like you have to share it with somebody else. It's all for you. Again, selfishness.
Yeah. I mean, unless you flip side that, be a Mennonite or the Amish, then that's when the family makes the money for you. More kids make more money. That's how. In this situation, it's not.
Right.
So
you were thinking about something there. I saw you.
Sorry.
What were you thinking about there?
No, you're good. You're good. All right. So anything else you guys want to add to Sigma before we move on?
No, I think I'm good.
I mean, I think of it as maybe if you don't mind not having the family, You'll be Cygnus for you. You'll be successful for sure.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
They do
Yeah.
tend to be loners, I would think.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep. But I mean, perfect for the entrepreneur or the self-made business person. That way you're not listening, that makes sense. I'm not listening to a boss. I work when I want to work. I'm going to create my own business. I'm going to be my own entrepreneur. I'm going to take care of myself.
See, that's a good way. It's a good way to start a business for
Yeah.
sure.
Mhm.
But then to grow it, you might have to start turning into more of an alpha instead of a sigma.
That's true.
Right. All right. So let's move on to betas. What do you guys think are some good? Let's start with the good because
All right.
everybody bashes betas, but there is some good aspects to them.
There is.
There is. You guys want to share what you think?
They avoid conflict. I think when
I said good.
yeah, I know. Well, that can be good. Like, okay,
You're
so
right, you're right.
in a household with a family, if you're, you and your spouse or your girlfriend, whoever you're with, if you guys are starting to an argument, and you avoid that confrontation or avoid that type of conflict, that could be good for your relationship. It could be good for your family. You're not exposing your kids to stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I feel like that could be like a time where a person would want to be a beta, not necessarily to not fight with their significant other, but to not show the kids a toxic household, something like that. So that could be a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, if that's the case, though, you shouldn't even have that relationship if it's toxic. So the way I look at it is a beta is good to not. If the beta is the type of person that they know and they're not on a high cloud enough as an alpha per se. They know enough that this person is pissed off. I'm going to back off and perhaps talk to them later when they're calmed down. Alphas won't do that. Alphas
Right.
will go at it.
Right.
Puff their chests out, poke each other in the chest, whatever. But the beta will be smart enough to step back a second, say, whoa, let me get my ego out of this. Let me see what's going on, and let's talk about it later. Now, as long as that beta talks about it later to the alpha when things are calm, the conflict is resolved. However, if the beta shies away from it and is 100% beta to not even want to go near it after the fact, then nothing will happen.
Yeah, I don't mean like toxic, like to the point. I mean like what if you like everybody argues. Everyone in every relationship, there's going to be arguments.
Otherwise,
there
there's
is,
something afoot.
But like even with me and my household, when me and my girlfriend we argue, I try not to show that to the kids. That's important, and she does too. So if the kids are around, we try to stop what we're arguing and wait till we're in private, and then we'll bring it back up. And then at that point, we try to have a discussion. But somehow it's still.
So you're better than I am. I'm the alpha where I'm like, no, we're gonna talk about this shit right now.
Right.
Over with. So
That's tough,
I'm trying to learn. That's one thing about growing all the time. You have to continue to grow. You can't think, oh, I'm good. I'm perfect as I am. Never. You'll never have self-growth.
Don't get me wrong. Like I get angry, and I definitely let shit slip out that I think about it later, and it's like I gotta apologize for that.
Perfect. Yeah.
But I try to see. That's the thing. I try to be better every day, like that. It's it's a work in progress. Like each day, I try to be better than I was the day before. But I digress. We'll go back to
So like talking about betas, like part of me tries to be beta. Is if that makes any sense. So like I like betas, like good things about betas are they're compassionate, right? Betas are extremely compassionate. They're great with kids. Right. They love, it's all about feelings and love and not anger and suck it up and deal with it. It's, oh my God, are you okay? Let me see you. You know what I mean? It's like I think of a beta as like a loving mother. Yeah. Think of it that way. You know what I'm saying?
They're like open with emotions.
Yeah, exactly. So I try to, as an alpha, I try to be more beta. And that's the way it should be. If you're beta, you should try to be a little more alpha. Right. You should have a little bit of everything.
You should.
Yeah. Don't feel bad for betas. They get girls.
They do.
Yeah. They're the shoulder. They're the shoulder.
They're the nice guy.
The girls. They are the nice guy.
They're the nice guy.
When the alpha screams at the girl, she goes running to the beta for a shoulder to cry because he has empathy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then he's always stuck in the friend zone.
No, not always. Girls will marry them because they make good fathers. They're there with a middle.
Don't make them feel safe.
A middle salary job with a house.
But how happy are their relationships?
Not happy.
Most of the time, they're okay.
They might be. They might be.
That's the household where the female is now going to go cheat on the male because
it could happen. It might not. I mean,
you don't know that for sure. But think about it. Like women do want a man that will take care of them and provide for them. But like you said before, they want a man that'll fuck shit up when they need to.
Yeah.
Betas are not those guys.
No.
They're not those guys.
No, they're not. But I mean, look at who was it that Kim K dated after Kanye? What's that little guy's name?
Was it Paul?
That little scrawny guy.
Pete Davidson.
Yeah,
that's it.
Pete Davidson.
I said Paul.
You know what I mean? I'm sorry. He seems beta to me.
Yeah.
Does he not?
Well,
He's getting it left and right, buddy.
Yeah. That's
you know
right.
what I mean?
Yeah,
like
sure.
women want.
I'm not saying no.
Nice.
I'm not saying no betas can get girls because they definitely can.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
You know, they definitely can. But you know, women are always looking for the bigger, better thing. So,
right.
You know,
right. We are
sad to say.
super generalizing women right now.
I love women. So. I love all you women so much on that.
That's it, Alpha. That's it.
I'm going to be the bad guy here. I'm going to be the bad guy here. Okay. If we're
all right. How about being loyal?
Absolutely.
To a fault.
Good fault. Yeah.
They will actually hurt themselves because they're so loyal with their emotions and everything like that. Now, betas, I think a lot of betas come from fatherlessness.
Yeah.
Because men have logic brains. A real man has a logic brain where he flows out of, and he's, you know, if you're a man, you're leading your family, you're an alpha.
Yeah.
Every man that has a family is an alpha in his family group.
Yeah.
Now, if you don't have a man, you're led by a woman who is emotion-based. And what are betas? Emotion-based.
Yep.
So I think that's quite a issue that's coming with fatherlessness and why we see so many betas right now.
Well, I mean, it makes sense, right? So if you're with your father and you're playing football and you get hit and you get down, what does your dad say? Walk it off.
Walk it off. There you go.
Walk it off. Now, what does your mom do?
Suck it up. No, mom's going to come
would
over
be
and
like,
coddle
are you
you.
all right? Do we need to go to the emergency room? I'm not saying that's against mothers. We need caring mothers out there, nurturing, caring mothers to tell the fathers, like, no, you dumbass.
There's
something wrong with our kid.
Yeah, that's their rule.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, you stupid shit. Look at him. There's something wrong. It's not normal. We need to go somewhere. We need that. You know what I mean? But that's just so you get the best of both worlds. So you'll find. But if you only have one set of parents, you won't get that. Just like if you're a motherless and you're only with your father, you're not going to have much empathy even as a female.
Right.
Exactly.
Which is not good either. Because if you have kids, you're going to have two alphas or two males, potentially, not hypothetically.
Mm-hmm.
Now leading that child, that child's going to be super alpha.
Yeah.
Super alpha.
Well, that's an aspect not many people think about.
That's right.
Wow. Motherless women being too alpha with their children.
Yeah.
Oof. I know we're on betas, but man, what a thought, huh?
I mean, like, so, my daughter, she doesn't really talk to her mom. Now, she has my fiance, which I'm super grateful for, but could you imagine if my daughter didn't have my fiance with me as alpha as I am?
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. I'm already telling her, like, suck it up, buddy. Let's go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Oh, they're picking on you. Well, it's time to pick on them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, you need yin and yang.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, my kids are like that. I feel like I love my son, Lex, obviously to death. Like I would do anything for the kid, but I feel like he's very emotionally driven. Like he is. He's kind of has more of like a beta like mindset. Like if you yell at him, he cries. If he, which is fine. And again,
it's training.
He is.
He's in training.
Yeah, he is. So like I might be a little over the top then with him when he is upset, and I'm like, tell him, suck it up, quit crying, knock it off. Like you're a man, be a man, like stuff like that. Trying to I push it on him. So maybe sometimes like maybe that's a situation where sometimes I might need to be a beta and try and like.
It's like a mix, right? So why don't you try to be a beta and then roll to alpha? So like be compassionate and be like, I totally understand. I get where you're upset. I understand why you're crying and stuff like that. But you gotta be a man.
Yep.
And so hurry up, cry it out as quick as you can, and wipe them off, and put your chest out, put your head up, and let's go out there. You know what I mean?
Side note. Children are still in training.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
We're raising these guys. So if your kid's crying from hitting his toe, It's okay.
No, it's not. It's
We're
not like
still
that. Okay.
training them.
So an example like today, for instance, when I was getting ready to come here, his mom came to pick him up. Okay, and his mom came in and said, "Hey, I just wanted to let you know, Lex is giving me attitude," and immediately he starts crying because he knows.
Oh, he knows.
He
At
knows.
least he knows wrong, right from wrong.
Right.
Yeah, that's true.
You don't know that.
So he knows. Okay, all right, I'm in trouble. So immediately I'm like, Lex, well, don't cry about it. I said, you're a man. I said, now you're getting older. You need to start taking responsibility for your actions. And if you're not listening to your mom, we're going to have a problem. And I was like, if your mom tells you to do something, you need to do it. And he immediately wiped off his tears, stood up straight, was like, okay. And then that was it. But it took a long time to get to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It took a lot of
But so
it's a learning experience for us too, man.
Yeah,
As fathers.
yeah.
As fathers.
these are all behaviors, and behaviors are taught and learned.
Right.
So we're all on the same path going forward.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We're all trying to teach the best behavior we know.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's one good thing about betas also is that they're open to influence.
Yep.
And they're open to growth, succession. Yeah. And they're very cooperative.
Yeah.
They make great team players.
Yep. Yeah, those are the guys in the company that, the alpha will give the directions to, and the betas they'll go out and they'll get the stuff done, and they'll work together to with each other. They work very well with each other,
Yes.
I'm probably going to get hate for this, but I like beta better than sigma.
I know. Dude, okay. I've been thinking about this. Is a sigma not a angry beta or a bitter beta?
Well, I mean,
does it not seem like that's what they were a beta for a while, and then they said,
screw you guys.
fuck everybody, you're screwing me over, alphas, and then they go become a sigma.
I guess that's a plausible idea. Like they're betas that they're like elevated betas now.
Yeah, they're like beat down betas that want to stand up against everybody.
Or maybe it's like they're like, you know what? I'm sick of being a beta. I can't contend against the alpha, so I'm going to do my own thing.
Oh, wow.
That's a good thing.
That's a good way to look at it too. Yeah.
Like a beta that wants to move up but can't.
Yeah. Yeah, it knows because betas usually can't physically compete because they're usually physically not in shape, not intimidating at all. They're doughboys.
Right.
So that makes a lot of sense as to how they would end up there.
Yeah.
Wow. That could definitely be.
That's interesting.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
But you know what? It is what it is. I mean, how can you be that driven for yourself? I don't know. Just because I'm family oriented and I love my family, and that's what really, honestly, my family is one of the main reasons that gives me purpose in this life.
Exactly.
I live this life for my family.
I don't know. I feel like maybe a lot of sigmas don't have family.
I don't think they do.
Or they just don't like kids.
Or if they do have family, they're the fathers or mothers that leave the family. You know what I mean?
They're selfish.
Because they're selfish. They don't care anymore.
I mean, I'm sure there's instances where there's a sigma that didn't leave a family that's just been a sigma because they didn't want to, kids or anything, and then they meet somebody that has kids. You see what I'm saying? So now they're a dad with somebody that has kids. So now do you think they'll turn alpha?
Well, they have to if they're gonna. If you have a family,
either that or they go beta and the woman's alpha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there are instances when a woman's alpha. Absolutely. Happy wife, happy life. That's an alpha instance.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
A woman alpha instance. All right. So I think we got through a lot of the good of beta. I mean, we really helped build you betas up.
Betas,
let's get to the bad of them.
They run. You don't go for the throat. You let your family starve out. You just
think about that.
Or instead, you just hide with your family instead of telling your family to hide.
Right.
That's the difference. Right?
See, like you said before, a lot of
that's a good way to put that.
Yeah, it is.
I like that.
Yeah, like betas, you say they do get the girl, but that's one of the issues now. When they do get the girl and they do have a family and shit hits the fan, they're tucking their tail and running.
Or you're out at the bar and a beta has an attractive woman and the woman's sitting there at the bar and an alpha comes up and smacks her on her ass. And the guy says, what are you going to do about it, beta bitch? And what are you going to do?
Nothing.
You're going to let the man disrespect your woman in front of
Yeah, that'll be a cold day. It'll be a cold day in hell.
you. Yeah, exactly. I will bite some flesh. But so that's another thing to think about. Like, so what happens then? And then is the woman going to question if you care? Because you're not going to stand up for them and protect them and be their knight in shining hammer. Because that's how it is. At the end of the day, a woman wants a man to fuck shit up. That guy disrespects me, fuck his shit up.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
They'll say that they don't want that. They'll say that they don't want that type of conflict, but you know damn well they do. Like, they want to see their man stick up for them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
It makes them feel good. I'm sure, like, this man is defending his honor,
right?
And my honor, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and with that, I think a part of the reason they don't stand up and fight is not just they're physically weak, but they lack confidence.
Yes,
confidence is a big key.
Yeah. How could you fight for something you believe in if you don't have confidence in yourself?
Well, I mean, look, I think of Rudy.
Look at Rudy.
I think of Rudy. He wasn't a big guy at all, but he was confident. And he had balls and he had a heart.
Right.
And he just kept going.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Beta trying to be alpha. Right there.
Yeah.
And with the heart, his beta heart made him alpha. Think about it.
It really did.
Do you think there are some people out there that just physically and mentally can never be alpha?
Yes. Oh.
Because, like we said, everybody kind of has to play these roles at different times. But and I know that's a different discussion. But there's definitely people out there that just can never, no matter what they do, they're just never going to be an alpha.
And that's okay.
That's okay.
Yeah. I mean,
you have to have betas.
You have to.
You have to have betas in life.
And like we said, it's not a bad thing to be a beta. You still get women.
They're probably the majority. If I had to guess, I would say they're the majority.
They are the majority. People think of themselves that people are now thinking themselves as sigmas. So actually, a lot of people think they're a sigma, but they're betas.
Yeah, they're betas. I feel like people hear, they're independent, they're strong, they're focused, and things like that, and then they're like, oh yeah, I'm a sigma. I want to be a sigma. I don't care what anybody thinks about me. Yeah. But that's not the case here.
No, they're really just unconfident, don't want to go out and hang out with friends, so they cover it up by saying, oh no, I'm independent.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they say, oh, I'm not asking that girl out because I'm a sigma. I'm going to lay back. She's going to come to me. No, you're scared, you pussy. Yeah. You're scared. Admit it.
You get your balls out of your pocket.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Pull your balls out of your mom's purse and get back out there.
Because a sigma has no problem getting ladies. He uses mystery and intrigue. Yep. The beta's sitting there, oh, I'm intriguing. How you doing?
Sorry for my clammy hands. That's me.
Yeah.
All right. So they also lack assertiveness.
Well, yeah, makes sense.
I think we touched pretty well on that.
Well, yeah, they're not gonna be like, okay, again, I keep bringing up like a business, they're not going to try and contest an alpha for that manager position. That's assertiveness. They're not going to. I mean, they might want it in the back of their mind. They might want that position,
or they'll do it in a different manner.
I think they're going to more or less.
Roundabout way.
I feel like they're going to kind of hope that the position gets given to them.
Yes.
Or
not take it.
Yeah.
They're not going to. Like I remember I walked in the company I work for now. I walked in there and I thought, okay, I'm going to be a crew leader. And then I saw opportunities to move up and I was like, yeah, I could be an operations manager. I'm going to move up to that position. And I did. Mm-hmm. So, and then, I look around and it's like, I look at my competition and it's like, there really isn't much.
Right.
But I mean, maybe that's an alpha mindset.
It might be. Yeah.
Maybe that's an alpha mindset, but I know when I first came in here, I was not confident because I didn't know anything about the job.
Yeah.
I had to learn, but I had, so I probably came in, I would say, as a beta with the intention of becoming an alpha.
So I disagree with you. I think you were alpha from the start. Alphas know how to be humble. A true alpha knows how to be humble and learn. And once he's got that confidence, he takes over. Once he understands that, because knowledge is not, to have confidence is to have the knowledge of how to do something and trust yourself to do it. You didn't know how to well, I don't know what you didn't know how to do. Okay. But,
Right.
you didn't know how to do certain things in the company yet. So you weren't confident in it, but you were confident in yourself.
Yeah.
That's a difference.
See,
Alphas can be humble and can be in lesser positions of authority. But once they get the confidence of knowing what's not to be done, man, they're thinking of how to lead.
that's true.
They're thinking, you need to do this. Why isn't this getting done? Here's the picture. Let's do it.
I feel like everywhere that I've gone, every business that I've worked for, I've moved up real fast. Like I used to work for BCM Security Solutions, and we used to go around the country. And like my first day on the job, I was just a normal worker, kind of just checking people's credentials to make sure they were allowed to be places. Second day, I was a supervisor.
There you go.
Day two, they moved me up to supervisor because one of the guys didn't show up, and I remembered everybody's position. I remembered everybody's job task from the first day because I had the intention. Now I didn't have the confidence to do it the first day, but when I learned about it the second day, it was just right place, right time. I said to Ed Harris, his name was, I said, hey, I remember where everybody's supposed to be, and I remember what they're supposed to do. And he's like, are you serious? And I'm like, I do. Yeah, I can place them. And he's like, if you do that, he's like, I'll make you supervisor today. You'll get paid for it, And I did. I stepped up and I took over as a supervisor. Then I was a supervisor with them ever since. Ed Harris, yeah, I love it. Yeah, he's a really good guy.
So with that being said, I also think there is places where betas are going to be bad in leadership, but I think there's also good places because they are so social and group and emotional orientated that they'll take information in from everybody and then they'll rely on other people to make the decisions for them then.
Yeah. I feel like
but at the same time, that's a bad thing.
Yeah.
To take everybody's input in. What do you guys think?
I like the fact that I like the fact that they take everybody's input in. Even as an alpha, I take everybody's input in because you have to be all-encompassing. And I think, taking everybody's input in isn't always the best input. You know what I mean? And it can't be crap in, crap out. Obviously. So you take the input in, you scan it over, you analyze it, and you determine what is the best off of your own perspective. As an alpha.
That's an
you
alpha.
make the decision.
That's an alpha.
Now, you were saying the beta does that, but the beta will let everybody else make the decision. So why collaborate? Just tell them to make the decision.
Well, I feel like they might come up with like good policies, because if they're taking everybody's input in and it gets real intricate like that, they might have the patience to kind of like figure out new policies for companies and things like that, and then just let the alphas enforce them.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, can they make those? So let's put it this way: if a beta is in a room with 5 different people and they want all different policies, are they going to be able to push back? Or is it
I think they're going to be great at sounding the alarm.
There you go. I'll circle back.
You're right.
I'll circle.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, at the end of the day, the alpha makes a decision.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And everybody has one. People have CEOs. People have presidents. Everybody has an alpha.
Yeah.
Or a board of alphas. Right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly. So, with that said, you guys feel good with the bad and the good of betas, alphas, and sigmas?
Yeah, we're going to get some love from betas.
Yeah,
We'll make up for the sigmas.
Right. They're probably
Let's move on to what you were bringing up earlier. Can you be more than one type? And I don't think that's not even the right question. Should you be more than one type?
Yes.
I think so.
Good question, and yes, you have to be.
Yeah. I don't think you could be more than one at a time. Like you're either one or the other at certain times. I don't know if there's really any instances where you kind of have to be a little bit of both,
I think it also depends on where you are in life. Like, I mean, if you look at me now, I'm more of a mixture of alpha and beta, not the other one, but alpha and beta. So, I mean, I'm more alpha and beta. I'm not selfish at all like that. I can't be. But I'm more alpha and beta mixture now than I was in my 20s. My 20s, I was pretty alpha, straight alpha. Like, and now as you get older, even being alpha, you don't have to detail alpha. Like, I don't need to be in my 40s. I don't need to walk into a bar and with my chest out saying, "Now I'm alpha. Look at me. I'm in the bar." You know what I mean? Like, so in my 20s, yes,
yeah.
I want to walk in that bar. I want to be chest out. Notified, spotted. It's kind of like finding a mate. In my 20s, I was finding a mate. It's like a rooster. You puff your chest out, you try to get big and full and try to find your mate.
Yeah. So my theory on this is the alpha, beta, sigma is all bullshit. And it needs to get thrown in the trash. because it doesn't exist in real life. I think you have aspects of beta, you have aspects of alpha, you have aspects of sigma, omega, whatever all those fairy pixie ones are.
I agree with that.
You know, and it's really about behaviors and finding the things that are good and getting on your own personal growth to better the people around you and help everybody around you to grow and move forward. Who cares which category it's found in?
Right.
Take the good, grow in that area.
Okay. I mean, I can see that. I can see that, you know, everybody kind of like fits into all those categories. So there's different times even in the day, it could be in a moment that you switch personalities and go, but you know, I think just for defining characteristics, maybe society was looking for a way to generalize them to figure out, you know, I would agree then, you know, saying I would agree that, you know, they are bullshit. Like you could kind of just like move from one to the other even in a moment, but for them to generalize it, they needed somebody somewhere, probably some college kid somewhere, decided to sit down and said, yeah, we're gonna define this as an alpha, we're gonna define this as a beta, we're gonna define this as a sigma.
So on that point, the guy's name was David Mack. He's the one that did the study.
Right.
He did it in the 60s with captive wolves. Now that's important for another question I'm going to ask later on.
And peyote.
60s peyote.
Yeah, thank you. So,
Frank, you're old.
Peyote is Quaaludes. You know what Quaaludes are?
No, you got me.
Oh my God, dude, what are you on about, man? But anyways, so he studied them in captivity in Switzerland. They threw 10 wolves in this tiny little enclosure. And that's how he came up with all these different things. He had studied how they reacted with each other. He then took 10 to 13 years studying wolves in the wild. And he said to the publishers, destroy every book I ever wrote from that study, which has the alpha, sigma, beta, delta, whatever. All those things. He said they're all wrong. He said they were in a hostile, non-standard environment. They didn't have any family connections. And it was not realistic to what wolves' structure actually is in the wild.
Wow.
He found that most of it is family, and there's not necessarily an alpha, but there is the alpha couple, which is the parents of the cubs that are in there. And just like humans, parents lead.
Right. Yeah, we have to.
They lead.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that they would break off once the cubs are old enough, or pups are old enough, they'd break off, and then they would make their own groups. So he actually turned 360 on that and said, oh boy, this is wrong. Kind of like what we just established here was saying you have to be a mixture.
Yeah.
There's no true alphas in this world. There's people that get pretty darn close. I'm sitting next to one of them and two of them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? These guys are pretty alpha. Now, I also took a test online and found. Did you guys take any of those tests?
I didn't. I saw a couple.
I was I was like, what is this? After studying it for so long, I'm like, how do you even figure that out? So the only somewhat good one I found gives you a mixture. And I was like, well, no, okay. There it is.
It does, yeah.
You're a mix.
Yeah.
You're not one type. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And that really resonates to me and even to the guy who wrote the study that established this stuff. And I know we're peeing a lot of people off right now.
Right.
That's all right, though.
But I mean, that's how it is, though. Like, at one moment, I can grab some dude by the throat and say, don't talk to my woman like that. And the next moment, I could cry with my daughter telling me she loves me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Exactly. It's being a man or a woman that matters.
Right.
That's what matters.
How about a good moral compass?
That's another thing.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Having a good moral compass.
Yeah.
I don't know if we want to get into morality here. I don't know. That's going to take this a while.
Having a good moral compass, just having integrity.
Yeah.
Like just doing the right thing.
Doing the right thing when nobody's looking.
Nobody's watching. You shouldn't have to have somebody watching you for you to do the right thing.
Right.
You know?
Right.
That's what I would say.
Right.
Hashtag Oprah.
Right. So.
Oh, God.
Okay.
Sit back, sip my coffee.
Now.
While the internet gets mad. So, we all agree on that, right?
Yeah.
I got an interesting question for you guys. We know there's a lot of betas out here, right?
Right.
When you go to the city, what do you find mostly in the city? Because we're all
Trash.
what do you
Garbage.
Do you think it's more betas, sigmas, alphas?
I would say it's
Sigmas.
a lot of.
I honestly think it's going to be Sigma.
It's going to be Sigma.
Because I mean, like, think about it. You said it's starting to become popular. Where do things become popular in cities?
Yeah.
They become popular in the cities first, and then they roll out.
Yep.
And it's usually cities of other states that roll to other cities. So like one thing could be hip hop, and like, so for instance, right now the big thing in Florida, I don't know how long it's been since I heard this, but one of the big thing in Florida is the IV parties. You know about IV parties?
Yeah.
You know about that?
I don't. What is an IV?
So an IV party is like, say you have a bachelor party and you're out boozing and you're all hammered. You can have these nurses come over and give you intravenous to get you over the hangover. They can put potassium in it or whatever.
Oh, okay.
They can add stuff to it to help, but you just pay for the saline bag. They come over and they do it and they do that. So I'm wondering how long is it going to be until that makes its way here, if it makes its way. But I mean, even with tattoos, like I'm heavily tattooed. I love tattoos. I find that there's a style of tattoo that happens in California that makes its way to Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Especially with social media now.
Same thing with clothing.
Yep.
Clothing the same way.
Same way.
Like different types of clothing. I guess trends will start in the cities and then they'll work their way out.
Or they'll come back.
Or they'll come
Some
back.
trends are coming back.
Right.
Bell bottoms and stuff are coming back. I mean, not
Mullets.
So yeah, mullets are back.
Mullets are back.
I can't do that. Though.
Mullets
I
are
can't do
back.
that. I don't have the hair.
Bald.
Yeah, me too.
So, do you guys think there's a difference from city people, like in the study, where they're in a unnatural area and they're forced and crammed and jammed in there like the wolves were, compared to wild people out, people out in the country or suburbs?
Well, I mean,
do you think there's a difference there, like he found in the study? Do you think that could correlate into real life, real world, why they're blue cities and red country area?
I guess I don't really see why it would be different.
I would. So I work in a city, and I live in the country, so I see both sides.
Okay.
I hate going to the city. I mean, I love going to the city, and I hate going to the city. Sometimes it takes me forever to get to the city. So, like, would I rather wake up in the morning, log into work, and get right to work and be happy, sitting there in whatever I want to wear? Or would I rather take 2 to 4 hours to be in rush hour traffic to get to work and be miserable and working hours? So it's like the people that are in the city, I love them, but I feel bad for them because they are surrounded by people. It's clustered. It's all over the place. It takes forever to get everywhere. Otherwise, you have to go on the train tracks. And I don't know how many people know this or not, but I took the train for a while. And sometimes the train takes you longer to get home than driving because especially around Christmas time and stuff like that, that's when a lot of people take themselves out. You know what I'm saying? So they stop trains and everything like that. Now that's depressing on its own. You know what I mean? You know, somebody just did something that stopped you from going, what were they going through? And you have to have some, that's the beta part, right? You got to have some kind of compassion for that person. What just happened and stuff like that. But I just feel bad for them because they're dealing with all that hustle and bustle and stuff like that. While out in the country, you put your windows down, you have a nice air, unless it's a manure spreading day. But I mean, it's a nice country breeze. You know, there's not hustle and bustle. You put your top down 60 mile an hour on the back road. It's nice and comfortable. You ride a motorcycle. Try to ride a motorcycle in the city. Try to ride a motorcycle in Dallas, Texas.
Yeah.
Good luck. Yeah. Good luck.
See, I feel like a lot of the people that, you know, are kind of stuck in cities, they're probably poverty stricken. You know, they probably have to deal with that a lot. And it's,
the cities make them poverty stricken. Look at Philadelphia, for instance. 3.4 or 3.8 city wage tax on top of your income tax.
So,
and then they do sugar taxes on top of it and everything else. They tax everybody.
Right.
Wazoo in that city.
So then it would be like almost like a city full of betas because you're lacking the leadership to try and help change that. You know?
Right. And it's constant. It's constant cutthroat too. You're constantly up against people just like they kind of were in that study where they're in that tight little enclosure. So everybody's going to be pounding at each other and there can only be one alpha.
Right. There
really can't be anything else. So you're forcing that environment there. I think the hierarchy would play more of an actual effect in cities rather than in the open when you could actually be yourself.
Right.
And that's not a good thing either. Like if you can have an organization where you have the alpha at top that is just so egotistical and running that business to the ground, that you actually have good, legitimate leaders that are with him that just butt heads with them because they're alpha as well. And they can't find a middle ground. So the alphas that are good bail.
Wouldn't that make that
bail.
Wouldn't that make that leader more of a sigma then?
The leader would still be an alpha, but the person bailing would be the sigma. I would think, right? Because if you have two alphas going against it, one alpha's like, I'm bowing out, this is bullshit.
Well, you said that they'd have a lot of good.
Dip for myself. That's my sigma.
Yeah, they would buck against the rules.
That's what I'm thinking.
You were saying that they have right,
Yeah.
like exactly like the president there would be more of like the sigma though. I thought because you said if you have a bunch of good people underneath him, like you said, they're good people that really want to make a difference. But the president of that, let's just say that situation, isn't really trying. Like there's too much.
Well, yeah, that makes sense. So like an alpha can become a sigma by being egotistical, right?
Yeah.
So if an alpha is so egotistical that they normally care about the group, but they're egotistical that they don't give a shit about the group and they only care about themselves and their ego, they're sigma.
Okay.
Right?
I would say that. And then you're saying
carry the two. Yeah.
then you're saying when that happens and then the other people bail, they're turning themselves then into a sigma.
I would assume because they're not sitting there to fight against it. Like, can you go? I mean, unless it's like the top president, you can't go above his head, and then
Right.
the only thing you can do is bail and be alpha somewhere else.
Right.
But I guess even if that, like you said, it's a mixture, right? So I'll become sigma. I'll walk off for my own pleasure, and then I'll find the next place and I'll be alpha there.
Right.
Right.
See what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And because we all have those traits mixed in. So
Right.
you're going to use them at different times, obviously.
Right.
You know,
Okay.
because I know as far as I running my running my businesses, I am more sigma based. I care about it. I have you put the money in. Yeah, exactly. But then when it comes to the people and running them, I turn more alpha.
Yeah.
And I say, all right, let's do this. Let's do that. And I mean, over the years, I've had to learn how to get some beta traits because I've made, made people cry because I was unempathetic and said, this is what we're doing. You know?
Yeah. And then there has to be a fine line with empathy too. Like, if even for instance, say I was a boss and I had somebody that their dog died, I'd give them a day off.
Yeah.
You take the day.
Right.
Now, if they want a week off, you don't need a week for a dog.
Right.
Sorry. I love you, but take a couple days, maybe 2 days, 3 days, whatever you need. But you're not taking a whole week off,
Right.
for a dog.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I would still have enough empathy to give them some time.
Yeah, like a
Because
day
I mean,
or so.
part of the family, dogs are part of them.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Now, a lot of managers won't do that. They're like,
It's just a dog.
it's just a dog.
They
Just
don't-
go buy another dog.
There's
There's your alpha.
a lot of people
Right.
like that.
That's your straight up alpha.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where the empathy, you got to kind of lean a little bit more towards the beta.
Yeah.
Just a little.
Yeah.
You still have a business.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't let the business go belly up.
Yeah.
you know?
It's normal nature. You give somebody a foot, they take a gun.
But again,
And that's
just
how it is.
that-
And you have to be wary of that. And that's just how it is.
that goes, with having a good moral compass, having a good, having integrity, just doing the right thing. It that's important to people and their values.
So, question. So we've been talking a lot about men, and we talk a little bit about women.
Yeah.
Can women fit into the categories we laid out the same as men can?
I feel like, yes, there are going to be alpha women. There are obviously going to be beta women. There are going to be sigma women. I believe that. But I feel like, and I could be totally wrong. It's just a personal opinion. I feel like if there is an alpha man and an alpha woman, the alpha man's going to take over.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to take over. There's very like,
He has to in a fight or flight initiative. I don't want to sit back and with my family. I don't want to sit back with my family in a closet while my wife goes and defends my family.
right.
God, that'd be ridiculous.
I would feel like.
But then
I
you would
needed
be a beta.
skirt. I would need a skirt.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, you know what I mean?
Well, we'll just put it like this. Like, okay, so you're at a bar, okay?
Yeah.
And there's an alpha man and an alpha female, and they start butting heads or something. The alpha male is going to take over. He's going to win. There are going to be instances where there are some women out there that are just freaks of nature that could go stand toe to toe with a grown man and hold their own.
Mm-hmm.
But those cases are going to be very few and far between. And that's nothing against women, it's nothing against them. It's honestly just how nature works. It's just how nature is.
Right. Well, yeah, men physically are naturally stronger. And if you argue that, you're nuts.
Yeah.
But there is those freak data points that are off the norm that you're going to run into. I know one who is a gangbanger, and she terrifies me.
Oh, yeah.
I would fight her, but she's terrifying.
Yeah.
She's an alpha. She runs stuff.
Yep.
Right? She's the freak one out. And I think because men already have the advantage of being physically stronger than women, there's going to be more of a chance for a man to be an alpha in society than women. So finding a woman that is an alpha,
That's scary.
it's hard because they have to be somewhat intimidating.
Yeah.
You have to be. You have to be able to lay it down to lead.
And
People have to look at you as a leader.
And
I could be intimidated by a woman that's not muscular, physically fit at points in time. Like if I just know that this chick is a boss.
Yeah.
And I so for instance, I had a boss and I knew she was a boss, and I was intimidated by her. It didn't make me feel any certain way. I'm just like, man, I don't want to fuck with her.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And I know one of my good friends, his mom, I would not fuck with his mom. You know what I mean? Like,
and if you find,
they're just bosses.
How about outside of work?
Well, this is outside of work.
Oh, really?
This is outside of work. I mean, my boss at work, she was like that. I did have a a friendship with her. I still do have a friendship with her. But she runs shit. Like she's mom. She runs shit. She takes care of her kids. She's single mom, runs shit, alpha, love her to death. She's awesome. So yeah, I mean, it in the moment, you just do what you got to do. And in certain moments, the things that you got to do are more alpha characteristic by this guy's bullshit book,
right?
Or bullshit study, or they're more beta, caring, and that's that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah. I feel like if you do find, a woman that has like those alpha qualities and like really is kind of like she is that bitch, they know what I'm talking about. They're probably clapping right now for that one. But if you find them, like, that's scary. You better like watch your back.
Well, not only you better conform, and you better be a badass dude with her because you guys wreck shit. That is an alpha couple.
Right.
Yeah, an alpha couple.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. To have that characteristic to compete in let's just say a man's world, like think of like how extreme she would have to be, So again, and then if she's with a man and he's, more like that's a scary couple. That's a scary couple.
Yeah.
They're going to accomplish a lot of shit.
Are they?
I would think so.
Egos are going to bump if we got two alphas in a couple.
No, I don't know. So like the company the software that I work on, it's a husband and wife that started that company, and she's the number one financial, like she's the richest woman in IT. Yeah. I'm telling you. Wow. You need an alpha couple has to work together. Yeah. If you find like you can have two alpha people together and maybe they have a moment of beta where they work together, right?
Right.
But if you have two people that are alpha and even if they have beta tendencies or whatever, but they just don't work together, you're not going to do shit. Right. But if you have a couple that's alpha, they both have their, the big boy and big girl pants on and they both can run shit.
Yeah.
And you have them working well together, sky's the limit.
Sky's the limit.
Again,
I agree. If they have that back and forth, and they can respect that and switch the roles up.
Yep,
and both learn.
They're unstoppable.
Like you said, even if all these classifications are bullshit, then it's there's going to be tendencies where they have to kind of like transfer from one to the other, so that way they can work together. And if they're both alphas like that, like majority of the time they're both alphas like that, they're going to fuck shit up.
Yeah, I mean, and you can't be a straight alpha the whole time because these are both a group. You're a group, and you both have different priorities that you have to do. Work with both. Like, so me and my fiance, we both work. We both have to play dad. We have a soon-to-be 16-year-old and a soon-to-be 3-year-old. So it's different needs for different age groups. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we have to do a lot of different things. There's taking care of the house, taking care of the dog, taking care of the yard, doing other projects that are coming up, birthday parties, Halloween parties. There's so much stuff that you got to do all the time that you can't just be straight alpha. You have to be give and take and work as a team. That's where you need the alpha couple that works together.
Yeah. Exactly.
That was a good question, though.
Yes.
What do you guys think? You got anything else to add?
That was a good question. I like that. Not on that. No, I think I'm okay with all that.
Just so everybody knows online here, we want to see you get better.
Yes.
If you fall into one of these characteristics, these character types, you can leave them because these are behaviors.
Right.
Behaviors are taught, learned.
Yep.
You can grow out of it and pick the good out of the other things and move forward.
And you should have aspirations to do more in your life. Mm-hmm. Like everybody should. You shouldn't want to. I mean, everybody, starts out kind of as like the worker bee. They They all do. But you should have aspirations to move forward. You should have aspirations to better yourselves every single day. And it's again, I've said this before, but happiness, if you want to be happy, happiness is not, it's not a place. You don't get somewhere and say, well, shit, I made it. Guess I can kick my feet up now and call it a day. No, it's a road, and it's a bumpy one, and you have to work at it every single day, and it never ends, and it's never going to end. You're going to be doing it every day. You have to work on it. So if you want to be happy, you need to strive to be better each and every day, and learning how to fall into certain characteristics when you need to is going to be huge for you in your development throughout your life.
Agree. Yeah. Beautiful talk. I really, no hate to you, Sigmas.
Yeah,
really,
we
no
just want
hate.
everybody to do better.
Right.
I mean, I like the idea of having the genres though, like Sigma and stuff, because at least that groups characteristics together. So if I'm a beta and I want to be, and I'm hearing this podcast, these three wackos here, and I'm being told, like, you know what? It's cool to be you. It really is cool to be you. But maybe challenge yourself a little bit and try to challenge yourself by grabbing some characteristics from some of the other genres that you're not in. So like if I'm a beta and I know to myself, well, I'm not really a leader. And why aren't I a leader? Oh, it's because I lack confidence. Well, why do I lack confidence? All you're doing is challenging yourself. Just challenge yourself.
Right.
So why do I lack confidence? Well, I lack confidence because I have a flabby gut. Okay. So now I know the problem. So now I got to figure out a way for the solution. You see what I'm saying? Like, you can't fix something until you finally finalize what the problem is. Once you know what the problem is, now you have to find a solution for that problem. There's always ways from A to B, so you might have to choose a different one, or one might not work or whatever.
Right.
But you got to, and that will give you your equation to try to make you to that point. And that's just going to give you confidence. But that confidence, and you getting there, that confidence in showing that you've made a goal can snowball.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And that snowball is what can take you to the next level.
Right. It'll change your whole.
Honestly.
It'll change your whole mentality.
Yeah,
It'll change your life.
It'll change your life.
It will. Yeah.
Or like say like, so I lost 60 some pounds. So it's a big eye opener for me. Like when I see somebody that I haven't seen in a long time, they're like, wow, like you look great. You lost a lot of weight. You slimmed up, and I wish I looked like that. Stuff like that. It's an ego boost, man.
Yeah.
It's an ego boost. I was overweight. I had to hold my breath to tie my shoes at one point in time, and it was making me lose confidence. So
now you're a 41-year-old freak of nature, huh?
Absolutely diesel.
I just take care of myself. That's all. I'm thankfully my family lets me take care of myself, and I work out in the morning and get my head straight. That's what you need. You gotta find a place that you get your head straight.
Yep.
Because if you don't find that place that your head's going to get straight, your head's not going to be straight.
Yeah. The important thing is you have to do something.
Yeah.
You got to do something. You can't just sit there. You can't have problems in life and think that think they're just going to go away.
No, it's not.
It's not going to work.
You're not going to get a miracle $1 million, whatever that thing was back in the day. You get $1 million.
You're not going to hit the lottery. You're not going to win on that scratch off ticket.
And even if you do win, the government takes more than it anyways. So why you're not going to win that much?
And even if like everyone always looks for instant gratification.
Yeah.
They always want instant gratification. They don't want to put in the work to better themselves. And I'm not sure what characteristic that would kind of fall under. But you need to like get away from the mentality that you need instant gratification, because it's gonna, like, if you want something bad enough, like, why not suffer for it?
No.
If you want something bad enough, why does it have to come easy?
No.
It shouldn't have to. If it was easy, everybody would do it.
Right.
So get out there. You have to get out there, and you have to start. And you could say to yourself, this is either one day or this is day one. All right? That's what you have to do. So you have to do something. You can't just sit on your ass and do nothing.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So I think that's pretty good for this episode, guys. What do you think? You guys have any?
Probably gonna get some hate.
Oh, we're gonna get a lot of hate.
I love you, women. Don't hate me.
I love women too. I might. Maybe for my views on some things, they might disagree, but I do love women.
I do.
Yeah.
Well, I love women, but I think the women.
Right.
Women are needed more than men in this life.
Absolutely.
Honestly, they give children, and they feed them, but they need the man for the children. But still, at the end of the day, women make the children. So
Yeah.
we need them, and they feed them, so they're more important.
They just have more patience. They do.
Well, yeah, too.
I have none. See, that's something I got to work on. That's a problem. I have to figure out, why don't I have patience? I got to figure that out, and I got to figure out a solution to get,
Right.
Well, I think that might just be stress related. So
Probably.
out, as I'm getting older, stress.
Yeah.
It really is. Stress is the one that'll get you.
And it will mess you up. You'll have stress, and your heart rate will be going crazy. You'll be in the ED, and once you get in the ED, you get a result, your stress goes away, and you're fine. Simple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stress is terrible. That's another thing. People don't realize to be able to lose fat on their body and stuff like that, they really have to control their stress levels.
Who do you think out of the three has the most stress? Alpha, beta, or sigma?
I think it would have. I mean, if it's a good alpha, he's not going to have the stress. If it's a bad alpha and he's letting all that stress and he has to control everything, he's going to be the one that gets hit hard.
I feel like he's probably going to take it the worst, I believe, but I feel like the Sigma's not really going to be stressed.
Sigma will never. No, they're going to let it roll right on.
Alpha's going to be the most stress.
And same thing.
That have the priority for the responsibilities on their shoulders. So, I'm an alpha. I support my family. I'm the breadwinner. I'm not the breadwinner. My fiance works too, but I'm saying as the alpha, they're the breadwinner. They're the ones that carry the stress. If I lose my job, my family doesn't have a place to stay.
Right.
So I would assume that they have it. I mean, betas too, I would think, though, because betas are all about family.
I think beta stress would come more from financial and wanting to.
I feel like they're going to live.
Get the woman.
They're going to feel like. I feel like they're going to have their happier lives. You know what I mean? For the most part, I feel like betas are still going to have happier lives because they're not. Their stress levels are going to be way lower than alphas.
So they have nice places to let their stress out. Yeah. Eating. Right. They love to eat. They don't care about their bodies.
Right.
They don't care about their time or self-growth, so they're going to watch TV and video game their stress away. They're also going to numb all the pain in life with alcohol, with drugs, and they're going to escape reality so that they can feel better. So they do have stress, but they have outlets. They're just not healthy ones. The alphas are taking that and facing it straight on.
Yep. Or alphas go to the gym.
Yep. Or that. Yeah.
The gym gives so much
skills.
mental clarity.
We just go to the gym.
Yeah.
I love the gym.
Yeah. I mean, I did cardio twice today. 3 times, because I did it when you got there too. I did cardio 3 times today.
Cardio?
Yeah.
Oh,
believe it or not. Yeah. That was a good time. But, no, this was fun. I mean, I hope some people, hope they get a little bit of clarity on what some of this stuff is. And I really do hope that it helps them.
Yeah.
It's something that I care about.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. If you're locked in and you're like, oh man, I'm really a beta, relax. See what's going on and get the better understanding of it so you can fix the problem. Like we've been saying, this isn't some sort of set in stone. You're never going to leave that category, as we've already said. Yeah. So I think, we're here to help. I think this was a pretty good way to grow and understand and help ourselves even realize, hey, there are times I need to be a beta. I need to help my kids with this when my wife's not around or my girlfriend. Right. And I can't just be like, well, you broke. Looks like it might be broken. Dust it off. Maybe you got to sit there. Yeah.
Same thing, though. Alphas need to be more beta. Betas need to be more alpha. Sigmas need to be less selfish.
Yes. Right. Yes. Good summary. Yes. Yeah.
It's just, different points in our lives that we all just have to work on, for everybody.
Forever. I'm 41. I'm still going.
Right.
I've never stopped.
Nobody has all the answers.
Never stop.
Nobody has all the answers.
All right. Guys, thanks for tuning in with us. And join us next time to talk about more purpose or something else.
See you later.